I got this book as a gift. It's called The Book of Mysteries by Jonathan Cahn. I don't know if you have read this book. Let me know what you think about this book because it's a really good book. So far, I like it. It's by a guy named Jonathan Cahn, and he's from New Jersey. I'm sorry, from New York. And this is not just a book. He has reading a bunch of books. And when my daughter passed away, I feel like one of the things that I feel God wanted to show me was how distracted I was. And you know, when you lose a child, everything stops. The whole world stops. And you don't hear anything else but God's voice. And you find yourself in this wilderness, in this place where you don't hear anything else. And this is where God shows up. So I was reading this and I was like, oh, I can relate with this. And you know, it starts with the word midbar, that in Hebrew means the wilderness. And it's called the midbar, that comes from the word root, or the root word, davar, which means to speak. And what is exactly the wilderness? Well, this is the place where God speaks and the place of his voice. According to the book, that's what it says. And this is a place, the wilderness, the midbar, where God talks to us. Sometimes God needs to bring us to the wilderness. I don't know if you remember when he brought Moses to the wilderness. Remember when coming from the palace of Egypt, being a prince, God had to bring him out of there and put him in the wilderness for 40 years. And one day, Moses is in a burning bush, and there he was, God, his presence. He also brought Elijah. Remember Elijah? After, doing a miracle where God sent fire from heaven, then he found himself running away from this witch, Jezebel, and he ended up in the wilderness. And there he could hear a small voice. Why a small voice though? Sometimes we don't hear that voice because we're too busy. And I feel like God has been talking to me lately about how busy I want to get and how busy I'm being. And he just took me he took this opportunity because I feel like I'm in the wilderness right now. And this is a good place to hear his voice. Sometimes God speaks, but we don't hear because we have too many distractions. When we are in the wilderness, we shouldn't be afraid. This is a good opportunity to remove everything that is distracting us, and it's a good place to embrace the wilderness and get closer to him and listen to what he needs to say. Sometimes we get so busy with work, with life. I don't know anything. And we sometimes, we complain and we say, why I can't hear God's voice? But think about it. What is distracting you at this moment? Do you have something distracting you? Maybe a relationship, maybe your family, your job. I don't know, your friends. Who knows? But God sometimes has to bring us to this wilderness so we can seek him and we can hear him and we can listen to him. The wilderness in our life is not just a wilderness. It's a holy ground. That's what the book says. It's the midbar. It's the place of God's voice. And it's true. so beautiful. So today I just wanted to share this with you. Do you feel like you're in the wilderness, in a place where you don't see anything but rocks, sand, right? Mountains? It's too silent. Well, take advantage. This is the place where God wants to talk to you. He wants to speak to you. And I'm telling you, it's such a beautiful place to be when you hear His voice. So don't be afraid. Embrace it. Embrace it and draw closer to Him. I hope this is a blessing for you. Hey, and again, if you have read this book, let me know what you think about it. Blessings.